Hi everyone, welcome back to another Cut Above with Chris. I actually flipped the camera around a couple of minutes ago just to check it using the rear facing camera, on the iPhone 7. I think I prefer the FaceTime camera if I'm honest. It's a little bit wider view from what I get and it's not as close up as well. If I put it on the rear facing camera I'm sort of right here and that's not very good for most people to look at, if you know what I mean. Right, I'm going to start off straight away with Pruf Green Pre-Shave. I haven't used this for ages. In fact, if I'm honest, I put it in a drawer and I completely forgot about it. So I'm just going to put just a small amount of water on my face, just a little bit of moisture, and then don't need a lot of this stuff. I'm just going to rub it in with one hand. This will probably give you an indication of what my shave's going to be today. So I'm going for a menthol shave again today, and you'll have seen the soap on the video anyway. It's going to be Phoenix and Beau and Denali, not to be confused with West Coast Shaving Denali, which actually shares the exact same scent profile as far as I'm aware. Right, well that's drying in. Phoenix and Beau Denali. This is a peppermint scented, what appears to be quite strong menthol as well. I'm really looking forward to this. Now when it came it shrunk in the tub, so I actually squished it around my fingers and filled it in back into the tub again. It's a very soft consistency, bordering on being a crop if I'm honest. The label on this one, luckily enough for me, was pretty spot on, right in the middle. The only thing I find with it is it's a little bit difficult to actually read what's on there. It's almost like a cryptic message. If you get close enough, you can still read it. The Phoenix and Beau logo is just up here as well, P&B, and that's about it. Nice and simple. Now, as promised, Whiskers 25mm Ultra Fan Knot today. Going to be face lathering with it again, and let's say this recently seems to have softened up, or something's happened to it where it's, as you can see, it's got a lot more backbone than the 25mm fan knot, just a normal fan, but it is splaying a lot easier. I'm getting the splay from it easier, and it's got massive face coverage once it actually does splay. That's pretty much dried in. Face is cold already. Forgot how good this Pruf stuff was actually, if I'm honest. Right, so let's get the brush dipped in the water, flick out the excess, and then straight onto this dry soap. Now I'm not expecting this soap to perform like a normal soap because it does smell like it's got a lot of menthol in it. So I tend to find that these lathers are quite gloopy in consistency. They're not a rich creamy, so just a normal lather in a sense, a good normal lather. Whoa, peppermint's smashing out of the tub just now. So as you can see, now I'm thinking of stopping there. Because this is a soft soap, I don't think I'm going to need an absolute ton in there, but you can see how it's stuck all the bristles together. There might not be enough in the brush, but let's see. This is the wonder of synthetic brushes. Doesn't look like there's a lot in there, it's not a long load, but we'll probably get a pretty good shave of it. Oh yeah, menthol's really cold on the Pruf. Okay, so I'll just paint it on, which in my opinion is this Knots 40. What it really excels at is painting. It's almost got that sort of feel of a really high quality painter's brush. Right, that's it painted up. There's no moisture in this lather at all really, it's just dry paste at the moment. Dip the tips. Oh, that's cold already. Whoosh. Pruf was really helping with the coldness of it. I've noticed quite a few shave of the days recently with the Pruf on it, Pruf Green, but obviously it's in summertime for most of the world, just not over here. And there you go, look, I mean that splayed really easily compared to the problems I've been having with it in the beginning. And there's not a lot of moisture in the brush at the moment, so it's even more impressive for me. You can see the coverage on that is just enormous. Absolutely huge. Right, dip the tips again. Yeah, just displaying really easily now. It's got a lot more scrub than the 25mm fan. A little bit harder to splay, just slightly harder now. For some reason something's happened, it's loosened up a bit, I don't know. But certainly face coverage, it's absolutely enormous, as you can see. Dip my tips again. I'm getting a real good kick of menthol. I don't know if it's the soap or the Pruf, so that's the only problem. Needs a bit more water. So there you go, from that very small load, it needs a load of water. So it just shows you, you don't need to load your brush like you hate it all the time. Or still load it like you hate it, but just load it for less time. Now this lather, surprisingly, you can see the gloss on it, you can see the thickness of it. It's surprisingly very similar to just a normal lather. It isn't gloopy at all, which is very impressive. I haven't really come across many mentholated lathers that do that. Snakebite's one of them. Even Sterling has got a slightly gloopy texture to it. Barrister Man Arctique was very gloopy, as was Frostbite from Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements. But that's an amazing lather. Okay, the Gem Micromatic Clog Proof Twist It Open. As you can see on there are 8 dots on there, and there are now 9 dots on there. So this is shave number 18 on the Ted Peller Gem Blade, and that lather is amazing. Face is freezing cold already. It's a little bit warmer today as it was yesterday, so I'm happy to be able to get these. Mentholated soaps out and give them another little bash. I do love menthol soaps. Still very smooth, but I do find this side of the blade not as smooth as when I flip it over. For some reason there's obviously the edge is sort of sitting one way on the blade, so it works better on one side better than the other, but it's still very smooth. Shave number 18, 19, what's it? 17. Number 18. It's getting ridiculous. 18 shaves on one blade, one single edge blade. It's not even like I'm contending with two sides of a blade. The soap appears to be very slick. It seems to be doing its job very well. I would say so far, in terms of menthol strength, probably similar to Snakebite. It's definitely nowhere near as cold as a Sterling Glacial, Arctique, Frostbite, all those sort of ones. I haven't tried Cryogen yet, but it's meant to be the coldest on the planet. But the menthol in here is nice. You do feel it. I'm actually feeling it a lot more now on this second application, so we'll just see how we go with it. literally chucking lather everywhere. Now the lather feels lovely, but it doesn't feel anywhere near as nice as Holy Call, or the L&L grooming that I've used recently, or Barrister Man, any of those ones, even Wickham, or even Phoenix and Beau's normal non-mentholated soaps. I'll just be back in a second. Okay, and we're back. So I've just been off the camera for a little bit there, so the lather has, it's not dissipated, but it's just died down a little bit, so I'm just going to come back to it and just reinvigorate it a little bit. Doesn't need much, just a little bit. And here we go. Yeah, the lather just doesn't feel quite as velvety and creamy. It's nice, but it just doesn't feel quite as good. The menthol, on the other hand, is really coming out now. I would say it's definitely surpassed Fine Snakebite in terms of menthol strength. In terms of Sterling Glacial, it's still not quite there with those ones. And your Barrister Man Arctique. It's definitely cold enough where you have to really pay attention that you're not putting any pressure on the razor. Very, very smooth, comfortable shave all the same. But there's definitely a good whack of menthol in here. If you're not looking for it to melt your face, or should I say burn your face really with the coolness, this is right on the edge of getting to that point, just below it. Onto lather 3, which is like putting ice cubes on your face now. The brush, as you can see, for painting, it's an excellent painter. It really is. I don't know, obviously the style of the knot, the way it's sort of shaped allows it to paint a lot nicer, I find. Right, let's just get the tips and see if this soap explodes anymore, because it's a little bit, obviously such a short load and the brush might not have put enough soap in there. I mean, for the third pass, you don't really need a voluminous creamy lather anyway, you want the slickness to come through, but this is just a little bit thin for me. I've underloaded the brush, if I'm honest. That's just my error more than anything. Well, it is my error, not more than anything, it's just quite plainly my error. But it's enough on there. Managed to pull some of that off. It's actually getting very, very cold now. I've got to say, my face has actually got to the point of being numb, which is when you've really got to rein in the pressure. Especially on the chin area, because I can't feel it now. And as you're going around your chin, there's only a very small part of the blade touching your skin at that time. So you've just got to be very careful with it. And just on this section of the neck, it's just a case of a light touch for me. And over the 3 passes, because the hair grows in all directions, I get pretty close all over. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is another wonderful shave. Oh, yeah, it's definitely colder than snakebite. Oh, way colder than snakebite. Like I say, you just got to be careful with that pressure once it's on there, because it's so cold, your skin almost goes numb, and you've just got to be careful you don't put too much pressure on, otherwise you're taking a layer of skin off with the hair. But that's another shave for me on that gem blade. It's just incredible, absolutely incredible. 17 shaves on one blade, and I'll be going for number 18 tomorrow. Is it number 18 today? It was number 18, wasn't it? Hey, that was 18 today, so my memory's sterile, so it's absolutely shocking. Oh, I've got lather all over my fingers there. Right, Thea's medicated again, which I find just goes well with peppermint and minty scents. Tiny bit of feedback just here and a little bit on the tip of my chin. Other than that, nothing else that I can feel, but my skin is still numb at the moment. Oh, I even love the taste of that. It tastes great. Clove rock, yes. Phoenix and Beau Denali, excellent soap. Really great performing soap. I wouldn't say it performs as well as Kerry's non-mentholated soaps. I don't think it does, but it's certainly for a mentholated soap, it's one of the best that I've used. It certainly holds its own with Sterling, PAA, Barrister Man, Snakebite, just holds its own with all of them, no problem. It's certainly one of the ones that feels more natural on your face. The only thing I will say is it's a little bit, feels less creamy, it's a little bit airier feeling, and that could be down to the fact that I maybe never loaded enough into the brush, but we'll never know until I use it again. The brush was a 25mm Ultra Fan from Whiskers, the black wolf knot, as you can see there. Stunning, stunning brush. The knot itself is really growing on me. One thing to mention with this one, you can see that, it shed a lot more hairs than the bulb, the 25mm normal bulb and the 24mm black wolf or tuxedo knot. It shed a lot more hairs. I probably shed a hair maybe every couple of shaves. When I first got it, it shed quite a lot. So I don't know whether it's the makeup of the knot or whatever, but it's extremely dense. I find this knot even more dense than the 25mm normal fan and the 24mm bulb. So it's a very dense knot. It's got heaps of backbone. Even at the top there, there's loads of backbone. It's got heaps of spring. But for some reason it's definitely splaying a lot easier. I don't know why. Over that last few shaves, it just seems to have opened up again. It opened up for the first time and started really working the way I wanted it to, and it's becoming a firm favourite in the den now, thankfully, because of that. The razor, the Gen Micromatic, 18 shaves on that blade now. There's nothing else that can be said about it, absolutely nothing else. There's medicated, which is pretty much dried in now. It's another irritation free shave from a blade that's done 18 shaves is pretty impressive. I don't care who you are. Nivea Too Faced, just for that little menthol kick. I do have Platinum by Fine, which is lovely, it's got menthol in it as well. And I think I've got a couple of other mentholated ones, but this one is just it's nuts. Love this stuff. Yeah, bit of burn right there again, and a little bit on the tip of my chin. But my neck and the rest of my face feels great. There's no burn at all. Just the menthol I'm getting now from the Nivea, which feels great. And that's me done and dusted. So look, I want to apologise a little bit for the length of the videos at the moment. Talking about these brushes a little bit more in depth seems to suck so many minutes out of me, because I'm quite passionate about synthetic brushes. I really enjoy them, and I think if you haven't tried one, you really need to. In the same vein that if you've only got synthetics, I still think you should try a natural hair brush, because it gives you a different experience. It allows you to then make better decisions when you purchase different knots, different styles of brushes. And it's, yeah, I think you should have, if you're a natural hair user, you should have at least one good quality synth in your den, and vice versa. If you're all synthetic like me, I will have soon a very nice natural hair brush in the den, which I'm looking forward to using, and to see whether it can actually swing me around to natural hair at all. Much higher quality brush from what I hear, so I'll just see what happens when it gets here. But this one, these Black Wolf knots and tuxedo knots are superb, absolutely superb. Anyway guys, thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you're getting some sort of information out of me for these brushes and making decisions in terms of buying Black Wolf or tuxedo knots. There's just so much variety out there at the moment, and you can always pop over to Milton's shop on Etsy. It's Evershave, all one word. Stephen, the Suffolk shaver, was finding it difficult finding it yesterday and found eventually that it was one word, and I did the same thing. So it's one word, Evershave, all together, all in one word, and it'll pop right up there and you can have a look. And he's got some cracking deals on there. He's got a couple of new knots come out, and his prices are second to none in my opinion. You'll find it really difficult, in my opinion, to find better pricing on such good quality brushes, and for the customer service that you get from Milton, which is excellent. So thanks very much to Gil for getting that brush to me and giving me the intrigue of the Evershave brush, and actually getting the name out there, because these brushes, these knots are great, these little handles are lovely, and I'm really looking forward to at some point having a custom brush done from him. So with that being said, I shall leave you guys to it. Thanks very much for tuning in. Stay safe, drive safe, don't drink and drive, and I'll catch you guys in the next shave. Cheers.